This episode of the Wedding Playbook podcast is proudly sponsored by Moo Moo Maidstone, your ultimate destination for cocktails, cabaret, and the ultimate nightlife. If you're planning an engagement party, anniversary celebration, or any private event, Moo Moo offers one of the coolest nightclubs that you can hire exclusively. It's vibrant, stylish, and the perfect way to celebrate love in style. And one of the best parts about Moo Moo, in my opinion, is that not only do you get your own exclusive nightclub to celebrate with your family and friends, but you also get an incredible food menu, including real Neapolitan-style pizzas that are really worth talking about. Are you ready to get your party started? Give Moo Moo a call today or get in touch on their website, www.moomooexperience.com. And don't forget to quote the Wedding Playbook to secure your event for £100. That's right, just £100 will get your dream party venue locked in. A huge thank you to Moo Moo Maidstone for supporting the podcast. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Have you ever had a wedding moment that's like really shocked you or really surprised you?
It might surprise me. Oh man, a few. The worst one I ever did was when the wedding proper kicked off, as in like massive fight, riot police, ambulances.
Wow,
that was mental.
with them.
Keep in mind that this sort of stuff does scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, me too.
Like, okay, cool, that's fine then. Because I think sometimes when you're a performer, people sort of
think you're confident.
Yeah, this is it, and think you're the sort of person where you're always the life of the party and like, you're super confident and really out there. And it's like, put a sax in my hands.
Yeah,
and it's almost like a kind of a shield, or like a comfy blanket. Like that to me is
same with the camera.
Yeah, this is it. Like that's something I know I'm good at. So that's my comfy place. Take the sax from away. I don't know what I'm doing in life.
Certain social situations, I'm like, I will take a step back. But I'm quite like an extroverted person anyway. Like anytime we go to like a festival or like anywhere, I just randomly start talking to random people.
Yeah.
But it is different when you're a videographer because you've got to be out there. You've got to be a bit like yourself. You've got
what to do. And you stand there.
And I'm not like that in most daily situations. Outside of the house anyway. But yeah, I totally get what you mean.
Do you think is that like why partly that appeals to you as a job, do you think? Because it is
it's a great release.
Yeah.
I just said this on the previous podcast. It is a great release. Like photography was always an escape. Like going to a nice little quiet spot, taking some photos, enjoying the view. But the weddings are a great source of release to get out all that energy and get the adrenaline going as well.
Just be that person for a little bit.
And it weren't a straight away thing. Like my first 2 years was difficult, man. Trying to like get the courage to be myself. And I think my previous job sort of like hindered me in a way of being myself a lot of the time. Just because I spent a lot of time just on my own with the dog, not talking to people. So it probably took a couple of years just to get myself back to normal. Yeah. But yeah, man, I love it, man. It's such a fun job.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Everyone's different. Yeah. And I was like every wedding, everyone's happy.
This is it. Like the starting point is everyone wants to be there. Yeah. Like that's your kickoff point. So if that's your kickoff point, you know, you've got yourself a pretty decent chance of a good day.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas I think, some jobs, if you've got to be, you know, customer relations somewhere or whatever and dealing with complaints or whatever, your starting point is they're already annoyed with me and I haven't done nothing yet.
Exactly.
That must be a hard day at work.
It's so nice. Being in the wedding industry I think it's going to be difficult to not enjoy.
Yeah.
But doing a job, I don't think there's been a day where I've gone, I don't want to be here. I want to blow my brains out. I want to, even with the edits, I love the edits.
Yeah.
Whereas like previous jobs, I'm like, I can't be asked. You're just calling sick, shall I? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fake a day off or something.
Yeah.
But mate, anyway, Dave, great to have you on the show, mate.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Excited.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
So I'm a saxophone player. I've been playing weddings for a long time. I've done lots and lots and lots of this sort of stuff. I've been playing music since I was yay high. And then more recently, last couple of years, started DJing as well. So that's quite a fun sort of second side to the same thing, which is kind of cool. And yeah, that's me really. Yeah.
Why the saxophone?
Well, I started out life as a clarinetist. I started playing clarinet when I was 7 at school.
Is that the
black one, black with silver keys, like a straight
like
sax.
Three Blind
almost.
Mice?
Yeah, all that. Yeah. What's the guy from SpongeBob?
Squidward.
Yeah. I've never seen it, but everyone says, "Oh, you like science?" I was like, "Am I?" but anyway, so yeah, I started playing clarinet when I was really young, and just really enjoyed it, and branched out from there to other instruments, like learned guitar and drums and that sort of stuff, and been gigging in bands since I was really young, and then decided pretty early that music was definitely my thing. I didn't really want to do anything else. So I went to university to do a music degree. The clarinet was my kind of first study. That's been doing at school stuff since I was really young. And then a couple of years into my degree, I sort of, partly from other influences, I kind of realised that if I came out of university, because like jazz and kind of contemporary music was my thing. If I came out of university as like a jazz clarinetist, like there's no work for a jazz clarinetist. Like that's not a job.
Is there
that's
many
not something
jazz
you're going to make.
clarinetists?
Well, this is it. I mean, it was a thing, in the 1930s. And it is still a thing a little bit now, but nothing like enough to actually sustain someone to have it as a job. You know? And so, my third year of uni, I was like, I'm going to get a saxophone. So I did. A mate of mine at uni was selling a tenor sax for, I think it's 800 quid. And I was like, I'll have that. Thank you very much. And then, I spent my third year at uni pretty much learning sax from scratch. I mean, I knew how to read music and the theory and how to improvise, all that sort of stuff, those skills. But the physical side of actually making a decent sound on a different instrument was obviously completely new. And I took that third year to learn sax from scratch, did my end of year recital on sax, finished my degree as a sax player, having gone as a clarinetist, and then came out, and that's kind of where I got going, really.
And how, it's quite difficult to learn sax, isn't it?
I always say the sax is really easy to play badly.
Right.
So by that, what I mean is, like, if I had a sax here now, I would have you honking through hot cross buns in 15 to 20 minutes. No problem at all. Making a pretty reasonable sound, knowing your fingers go, like getting it. But then to go from there to making it sound like we all know a sax can sound. That's a lot of work. There's a huge go from that to that, if that makes sense. I think some instruments are hard even to get a sound on, like flute, for example. I teach flute a little bit, and you get some beginners that struggle to get a note out of it, even in a first half hour lesson.
That's what you got to blow into the hole, right?
Yeah, you sort of hold it that way. The silver one, you sort of blow across, like, over the hole. Some players really struggle to even get a sound out of it in like a half hour sort of beginner lesson. And that doesn't necessarily mean they can't do it. They might get it a bit later, and then off they go, take off, become really good. But sax, like, you can put it in your mouth and put some air for it, and it'll make a sound. And then off you go.
Like
so
tuba and a trumpet and
So it's a hell of a lot of fun. I absolutely love it. And but it's a lot of work to get from starting out to what we all know a sax can sound like. But it's fun work. So
And what drew you to the sax over like jazz drumming or guitar or something? I think like that?
Partly because it just follows on from the clarinet really well. So I had all that work already done. They are kind of similar instruments. It's a bit like driving a car and buying a motorbike.
Right.
Like, you're not going to be an expert motorcyclist off the bat, but you've got yourself a decent head start. But I think the sax, it's something about it. It's I think it's the closest thing to singing that's not singing. If that sort of makes sense. It's very like, you could get, say, 10 top pro sax players, line them up, blindfold me, and I'll tell you which one's which by the sound they make. Like, it's very unique, it's very organic, it's very real, and it's a very human sort of sound. And I think that really appeals to me, just the fact that it is so individual. And so expressive. It's such a cliche, but you can really tell a story. With how you play the instrument. It can go really loud, it can go really quiet, it can be really in your face, and it can be really kind of like quite fragile almost.
See, I love guitars. I love guitar. I can't play. We've just had a conversation about that, but I love how the guitar sounds, how different artists can be. Like
Yeah,
this argument of like who's the best guitarist ever to have lived. It's impossible.
of course it is. Of
It's
course it is.
impossible. I mean, you got
Yeah,
Eric Clapton.
yeah,
Like the blues is just outrageous on him.
yeah,
But then I like heavy metal, so you got like Dimebag Darrell is
yeah, yeah, yeah,
incredible. Slash and
yeah. Then
it's
you've got
hard to tell.
your Satrianis and all those guys that are
Yeah,
Steve Vais that are just monstrously technical.
yeah.
And then
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
you get Stevie Ray Vaughan who can play.
He's one of my
one note.
favorites, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That since seeing that video of him like snapping the string and then just moving up one and then
Yeah, they change the guitar.
Yeah.
Like under him while he's playing. Like
And
that's
then-
mental.
BB King, watching him change. Have you seen the video of him changing the strings while he's playing?
No.
He changes, he snaps a string and then takes the old one out and puts a new one in while still playing the guitar. It's just mind-boggling.
But he's like another one where he can play one note and it's
Yeah.
amazing solo. Like just the feel he plays with.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me with like music and why I love the sax as well. Like music to me is about making you feel something.
Yeah,
I can make you feel happy, feel sad, feel excited, feel like, and that to me is the expression. And
Yeah.
things like electric guitar, saxophone. It's like they're very kind of lined up to that
Yeah.
way of thinking.
quite beautiful instruments.
Yeah, I would say that. But
I remember
I'm
seeing.
biased.
I watched Jeff Beck on his last tour before he passed away, and Johnny Depp came out
Mhm.
after an hour, and all Jeff Beck had on stage was he had his band and he had one Fender, and that's all he played for an hour. And I've never been in a room where like 5,000 people are just staring. Like there's no lyrics. There's no sorry, neighbours' kids crying. There's no lyrics. There's no audio. It's just music, and it was so enticing and beautiful to watch.
Yeah,
And I think if you absolutely nail it, it's just you've got everyone there in your hand. And then Johnny Depp came out and just fucking rocked it.
Johnny Depp came out.
Johnny Depp. This was at he just won his trial.
As in Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp.
Yeah. So he's done it. He's a musician, isn't he?
I didn't know that.
He actually started out as a musician.
I did not know
so
that.
So he bought the Viper Rooms in LA just so that he could play his own music. He's done songs with he done a cover of Isolation from like John Lennon.
How's this passed me by?
Mate,
Oh,
you have to give it a listen.
I'll check
Some
it
of his songs are just incredible.
Nice.
And he works with, he's a guitarist
Okay.
mainly, and he does work with Hollywood vampires,
Okay.
so like the Joe Perry, Alice Cooper, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And he's a really, really talented musician. But he came
Wow.
out, he did Isolation, he did I Ain't Superstitious, he did some Jimi Hendrix.
Nice.
Some really, really good stuff.
Nice.
But just the whole show was just fucking awesome. It was one of my favourite shows I've ever seen.
Cool.
For a totally different reason to like
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
bands that I've seen play.
Yeah.
Just purely because it was just about musical talent. There was
Yeah,
nothing
Strip out
nothing
all
else
the-
on that
all the
stage.
extra. Yeah.
It was just the guys, their instruments, and a microphone.
Nice.
That was it. I actually don't think Jeff Beck said a word while he was on stage.
Yeah.
Apart from introducing Johnny Depp. And then it
Fair
was so like crazy watching him take a step back into his band
Yeah.
so that
yeah.
Johnny could take the limelight.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I feel like we've
Nuts.
got off topic a little.
That's all right. That's
In,
what
in,
we're
a,
here
in a
for.
way, anyway. But
Yeah. No. Cool, man.
yeah, no, that's cool, man. I like
I
that.
think it's I used to be a massive John Mayer fan when I was growing up. A huge fan. Like he came to like UK tour. I was like every day, you know.
Yeah,
And I saw one gig he played, and he did some of his like blues trio stuff. And he just basically said to the audience, like, does anyone know this? Like, apart from like me playing, he's playing like an old stand. I can't think what it was now. So anyone knows apart from me playing it? It's like pretty much like harsh. And he's like, yeah, but like it's blues. And if you're human, you just get it. Like you haven't even got to know the song.
No.
Like if you're human, you just get it. And I've loved that quote.
he done a song with Eric Clapton, didn't he? Magnolia.
Yes.
Eric Clapton did album with Eric Clapton and Friends, I think.
Yeah. Well, Clapton's a huge fan of John Mayer.
Yeah.
Like quite often there's quite a lot of quotes about him saying how good he was.
Imagine getting that compliment from Eric Clapton.
Man. Yeah, that's you know you've made it when you've got Eric Clapton saying you're
I remember
very
there
good.
being a story. I obviously weren't. I was only a kid when it came out, but David Bowie did a song, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was doing the guitar,
Okay.
and Eric Clapton literally stopped his car, listened to the song, and called his manager and was like, "Who is that playing guitar?"
Wow.
A similar story like Jimi Hendrix
Mm.
when Eric Clapton met Jimi Hendrix. Just imagine getting that sort of praise from a guy like that.
Yeah, it's mind blowing, isn't it? It's mind blowing.
But yeah, the same
done something.
sort of things from like BB King and like the blues musicians and stuff like that, because it weren't a white man
No.
genre.
No.
So they were all shocked to see a white man play blues better than most black people. So it's yeah, man, what a musician.
Yeah.
Would love to get the chance to see him if I could, but
yeah,
it's a long shot now, I think.
Yeah, you might be pushing like that.
Yeah. But how do you end up in weddings anyway? If you've gone for a jazz and
well, things when you're growing up as a musician, certainly as a sax player or a clarinetist, it's like classical music or jazz music. It's nothing really else that you get kind of taught, like doing exams and stuff when you're a kid and things like that. And to me, it was always like I preferred the sort of jazz side of things. Never massively like passionate about classical music. Like nothing against it. There's some nice piece of music that I like, but doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
And I kind of pushed on from there really, and then tried obviously different sort of genres from that, because like so much of like more modern music just essentially comes from jazz and blues background anyway.
Yeah.
Like jazz is the sort of grandparent of basically everything good, pretty much.
Yeah.
Nice blanket statement there. Just get a few more comments to the podcast.
Yeah.
What did you? But say to me, like I kind of fell into weddings almost, because when you come out of university knowing that you want to make a career as a musician, well, okay, great, but where's that career going to come from? Like, where are you going to get money for doing what you do? And a few friends of mine were playing in a wedding band, and so I got involved in that, and then sort of one thing leads to another. And I think if you asked me, when I was a kid, do you see yourself working in the wedding industry when you're older, I'd probably laughed. But it's a great industry for using other talents.
Yeah.
I think whether you're a videographer or a makeup artist or a this or that, there's so many things that you can offer in that industry. And that's why it attracts so many different people. That's why obviously a podcast like this is so interesting, because you're going to have so many different people from different walks of life with different talents, different interests that just are brought together by this one thing.
Yeah.
This is a place we can actually do what we love doing and share it with people and make a living out of it, which essentially is what we all need to do.
And the one thing everyone on this podcast has got in common is none of them plan to be in the wedding industry.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, who does?
Yeah, I don't. It would be nice to have someone on the show who set out to be in the wedding industry and ended up in the wedding industry.
But I think you need to learn a skill, especially to sell at weddings.
I think.
So I don't know how that could.
Obviously,
work.
like parents and stuff have a big sort of deal on how they're raised and what they go into. So like if my daughter wanted to grow up and be in the wedding industry, which she gets really excited about cameras, so it's not unforeseeable, but you can understand that side. But like my parents, my mum's a PA and my dad was a police officer, now drives for DPD, so
nice.
How I ended up here, I don't know. But yeah, it is.
I guess you got a passion for cameras and then found an outlet for that where you can make a career out of it.
I picked up my first camera in 2015, so 10 years ago I picked up my first camera. So
you've done all right, haven't you?
Again, I've got a real problem with spending. So as we've discovered with my musical instruments that I cannot play. There's another one in there, by the way.
Nice.
But that one was just going to be hollowed out and turned into a shot bar. But I'm also not a handyman either. So
there's some sacrilege in there if you want to find it.
I don't know what's in there. I daren't open it now. I'm scared to.
Probably find something really expensive, like that's your entire retirement fund right there in that case. Yeah. It's just on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what guitar it is. It's just an old acoustic guitar. I think my nan gave me.
Nice.
I was just going to jigsaw it all out and put some shot stuff in it.
But find out what it is first.
Well, there's no strings. I don't think it's any good. But yeah, probably.
But how gutted would you be if you hollowed it out and then found out it's like some vintage guitar worth like $100,000?
Yeah, just got to put some 12-pound strings in it and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
no, my bad.
Nice.
Yeah, weddings.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, no, it is a great industry to be a part of, and obviously music plays a big part in
Yeah, of
everyone's
course it
day.
does.
So
Of course it does.
I think having the sax is quite like, it adds to the party, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Massively.
Thing is, it brings a different vibe to any part of the day.
Yeah.
So I play the bride down the aisle. I'll play background vibes whilst having drinks on the decking or whatever it might be, overlooking the lake, and
Yeah.
it's just such a nice vibe wherever. And then you come to the evening, and it just there's an energy that comes from any kind of live music which you
Yeah.
can't replicate.
No.
There's just something about the kind of freshness, and it's happening there in front of you, not just, oh, this is the same record that I've heard before, maybe being mixed a little bit differently if it's a good DJ,
Yeah.
but it's still the same record you've heard before. There's something about it being like, if you're not here, you missed it,
Yeah.
you know?
And there's still a lot of I don't want to disrespect anyone by saying this, but
That's all right.
typical wedding DJs, the
Oh,
wedding
mate.
playlist, the wedding songs that
It's,
play
it's
at every family party, and
that is literally why I started DJing.
yeah,
Obviously, I've worked with a lot of DJs. I'm obviously not going to disrespect anyone in particular, and there are some really good DJs out there.
yeah.
But
I mean,
God, there's a lot
Boombox
of
are
them. Oh, Boombox, one of my favorites. Love working with
incredible. Well,
Boombox.
we had Bruno on the show, and
He's a top guy.
what a bloke! Like, he's such a nice bloke as
He's so
well,
cool as well,
and
isn't he? He's so cool.
far too
I
cool,
feel
man.
cooler being near him.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
He just
I wish I
oozes it.
gave off that aura, but
I'm working on it. I'm working on
I'm
it.
too much of a fangirl over Bruno to be that cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it needs. I don't know. It just needs that kick up the arse. Some of the parties.
Yeah, I mean, I say that's why I started doing it myself. Because it's the amount of times I've worked with DJs,
Yeah.
and I'm playing sax along with it, thinking I could do better than this by myself.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
think
the
I've only
DJ
had-
stories I could tell you.
I've had
scary.
maybe 2 weddings since I've been doing this job. 2, maybe 3 weddings where I haven't wanted to leave, and I think there's only been one of them weddings that I stayed until like closing time, but
Just
that was
'cause you wanted
just
to be
because
there.
well, they had Jessie J at their wedding,
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
and I was like, I can't leave in case she sings. So
You'd be
really,
kicking yourself, wouldn't you? If you
yeah.
got home, you found out after, it's like 10 minutes after
Yeah.
you've scarpered.
but even that, like even before then, the dance floor was packed all
Yeah.
night. There was it was a champagne wedding, so anytime there's champagne flowing, I know it's going to be a good party.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dance floor was packed. The other there's only been one where I've stayed quite late because there was a DJ.
Mhm.
They had a really cool DJ,
Mhm.
but it also comes down to the guests as well, because Bruno is a madman on
Yeah.
DJ, but it then boils down to the guests to stick around and want to
Yeah.
party and
To actually want to be there. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
like these 3 weddings, I think they're just unicorns, where these people did not give a monkeys about the buffet.
Yeah.
They were already drunk, so they didn't give a monkeys about the bar.
Doesn't hurt. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did not give a monkeys about going and talk to other people.
Yeah.
They just wanted a party.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I say to anyone, as long as your party is booming,
Mhm.
and I can't be on the dance floor to film, I'll stick around.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
I
is it.
love filming parties.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much. There's so much less pressure on come the party.
Yeah.
Formalities are done.
Yeah.
I'll go handheld.
Yeah.
I'll get on the floor, get amongst it,
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
and we'll have a good time.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, so how do you evolve from like learning jazz and that style of music with a clarinet to party music with a sax?
Again, I think what drew me to jazz originally was the fact that it was better than the alternative.
Yeah.
And I love playing jazz. I've always loved jazz, but I feel like I kind of almost learned to love jazz a little bit because I didn't want to do the alternative, and I was like, okay, actually, this is actually quite cool. It's a mileage this, and
Yeah.
I kind of got into it. And I think that's something that I've always been like quite good at, kind of listening to different styles of music that are popular or the people are asking for, and kind of going, actually, yeah, what can I do with this? Like,
Yeah.
and that kind of leads you into other styles and sort of party music and all this sort of stuff as well. Like, I'm always curious about what can I do with something, like listening to something different and
Yeah.
thinking, what's the mileage in this? How can I add my own kind of touch to this? What kind of inspires me out of this? Whereas I identify sometimes, I was saying to another musician recently, particularly jazz musicians can sometimes be a little bit, if it's not jazz, it's not good.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real shame. And certainly a lot of the kind of the more party sort of stuff that I do, the more kind of contemporary sort of dance music and that kind of thing, can sometimes be maybe sort of looked down on by some musicians as being like
Yeah.
almost like a bit too simplistic or a little
Have
bit
you seen the movie
too
Whiplash?
commercial. I haven't. Everyone keeps saying I should watch that, and I just
I
haven't gotten
think
around
that's
to it.
the sort of
That can,
thing people think of, because it's
yeah,
got Miles, what's his, I can't remember his name. He's a drummer, and then the teacher is quite strict on him, and
yeah,
I think that's what people see. If you like, you take that jazz drummer,
yeah,
which incredible talent,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then you put him in a metal band or something. It's like sacrilege.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a shame because, and that is the kind of impression you get sometimes of that sort of thing, and
Miles
it's such a
Teller.
shame. Okay,
Miles Teller, I forgot his name.
but
Sorry.
yeah, it's that's all right. So yeah, I think it's just such a shame because I think music is music. Like
Yeah.
it's always a shame. I think when you get someone say, "I don't like such and such," or even just a moment ago, like I said, I'm not a massive fan of classical music, but there's some songs that I
Yeah.
like. There's some pieces that I like. I think when you get someone who's like writes off a whole style and go, "I don't like jazz" or "I don't like pop music,"
Yeah.
or this, I think it's such a shame because it's all coming from the same place. It's all made by human beings and enjoyed by other human beings. Like
See,
that's
I
the
like
motivation.
heavy metal music, and the louder the better, I think, for me. And I understand why people are put off by it, but some of the musical talent in some of them bands are just outrageous, first of
This is
all,
it.
and then some of the lyrics in their songs are really, really impactful.
Yeah.
Um,
So straight away, you're a good example there of like, even if someone doesn't like the style, like here's
yeah,
two things that you can like about it.
yeah,
You can actually find, even if you don't like it, but still be like impressed by and respectful of.
yeah,
And that's true of like any style. Even you're looking at like super kind of like simple kind of pop music, you know, the three chords and one
yeah,
groove and stuff. Well, maybe part of the beauty is in the simplicity. Like it doesn't have to be
yeah.
complicated to be good.
Well, look how catchy they are.
This is absolutely, so someone's doing something right.
I'm not an Oasis fan, but I'll still sing Wonderwall
Yeah, yeah, of course you will.
just because I can't help it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you still do a little drum bit in Down the Back in Anger and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you can't help it. You can't help it. It's infectious.
Yeah,
And some of the beauty is in the simplicity. Like it doesn't have to be complicated to be good.
yeah,
I think part of what I've benefited from having a jazz background is where jazz is or can be certainly quite a lot more complicated than other like modern
yeah,
styles. It's kind of like it sort of prepares you for playing pretty well anything.
yeah,
Like, I mean, I was about to say, don't quote me on this, but that's the whole point of a podcast. But I'm pretty sure, for example, Lovely Laura, who's like pretty much the peak of the kind of the house sax thing, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying she's got a degree in jazz.
okay,
I think I'm right in saying she's got a degree in jazz from Leeds College of Music. I think I
wow,
read that somewhere, but you know, fact check that before you post it.
yeah, yeah,
But and again, that's a really good example because like if you can play that stuff, then you
yeah,
can basically learn to play pretty well anything that's come from it since because
yeah,
it's kind of all like jazz but simpler. But then, like I say, some of the beauties in the simplicity. The thing with me, like what I love about playing music is almost not even so much the music itself. Like I love that as well, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be it. But it's more seeing other people enjoying what I do. Like
yeah.
that was a killer for me in lockdown. And I've only like realized that since kind of reflecting on it, that I'm kind of
It's like you're high.
it's like I'm addicted
Yeah,
to seeing other people enjoying what I'm doing. And on that basis, like I get asked a question all the time, like, you know, what's your favorite song to play or favorite style to play? It sounds like such a cop out, but generally my favorite style to play is a style that you want to listen to
yeah,
because I'm going to get a kick out of seeing you enjoying what I'm bringing. And
yeah,
I'm going to vibe off of that. And then you're going to vibe off of me and we'll have a great
yeah.
time. But I was
I
saying
think
something
that's
recently.
any good musician can do that
Yeah,
as
this
well.
is it. But I was saying something recently, like there's nothing more awkward. I've done this a couple of times in my career. There's nothing more awkward than being booked to play a gig and then very quickly realizing that you're not the right style for
Yeah,
that gig and it's not going to work. Because then you've got a booking, like you are the band or whatever, like well,
yeah,
what are you going to do? And I say it's like if you've got like a new girlfriend or something and you're like, oh, you should watch this movie's really good, you'll really like it, and she comes around to watch the movie and you sit and watch the movie and it becomes very quickly apparent she's not digging it,
yeah.
and you're like, and you feel
I'm
you
forever
feel
showing Shanice
awkward.
reels that I'm laughing to, and she goes, "What?"
The thing is, like, if it's like a full movie, like an hour and a half or something, it's just like you feel really
Yeah,
awkward, and then you start questioning, do I even like it? Like, you know, and you start getting inside your own head about it. You're like, you know, do you want to turn it off? And she's like, oh no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. You're like, it's uncomfortable,
yeah,
and you don't enjoy it because they're not enjoying it, and it's like that being a musician. If you're playing music or you've been booked to play music, the crowd aren't vibing, so it's
yeah,
like you don't enjoy it, even if it's your favourite thing. I got booked years and years and years ago, to play with a jazz trio, in fact. And this was like back in the day when like jazz was very much my thing.
Yeah.
And I loved playing it. It's what I really wanted to do. And we got booked to do it was some sort of function, I can't remember what it was now. It became very quickly apparent on the booking that they didn't want a jazz trio. The guy who booked us was obviously way out of touch with what the guests actually wanted. They wanted a party band. They wanted to dance.
Yeah.
They've been far better off booking a DJ. And there I was with me, a piano player, and an upright bass.
Yeah.
We haven't got a drum kit. We haven't got a singer. Like, and they were going to be like, can you play some like more modern stuff, like some Bruno Mars? And I was like, no, not really. Like, how can I play Bruno? I don't know what that was particularly in their head, but I definitely got asked specifically from Bruno Mars. Like, how can I play Bruno Mars in a way that you're expecting, with the vocals and stuff, without a singer, without a drummer, with an upright bass, a piano, and a saxophone? Like, but it was a really, really, really long night.
I can imagine.
And we tried to like make it as upbeat as possible within what we've got, but it was awkward. It was awkward. But yeah, like my love of music is loving watching you love music.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, man, I get it. I get it. Yeah, I like that. So on that topic, have you got a song? If the party's a bit stagnant and it's not quite there, have you got a go-to song that potentially gets them back on the dance floor?
I've got a few go-to songs in different styles, depending on what kind of vibe it is. Obviously, Jubel kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
That is the sax song. Although I'm not getting requested as much now as I used to.
Okay.
Like there was a time where if I didn't play that as my first song, I'd have people in my ear until I've played it going, can you play Jubel? Or can you play that Lovely Laura song? Like I'd get that. So I used to say to DJs, like, just play it first. Just play it first. Then we can all move on with the nights,
Yeah.
And even then I get asked for it again. I know one gig I played it 6 times in one gig because the bride kept asking for it. I was like, well, the bride's a bride.
Yeah, it's like listening to Radio 1 at that point.
A little bit. But yeah, if it's like a fairly typical wedding crowd, things like Young Hearts is a banger. Like everyone loves it. Whitney.
Yeah. Well, that went off at the last wedding we was at.
Yeah, it goes
I want to dance with somebody. Everyone just went mayhem.
It's great. Moving Too Fast is a good bit of the sort of like mainstream garage. That's a good way of like changing it up sometimes. Something different. Free From Desire is obviously Show Me Love. They've
been very popular in the last few years.
You can't miss with that lot. You just can't miss. Everyone loves it. And
Free From Desire last year was a really heavily requested song for wedding videos.
Was it?
Like for their cinematics.
Yeah. It's such a feel-good song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you can't help but
that and Shut Up and Dance With Me.
Oh yeah.
That was very popular the year before. I don't think there was many weddings that didn't have that song.
Yeah.
In, and I think it's great. That's if I ever get couples now that ask for recommendations, I've got to put that in just because of how well it works so well with party footage.
Yeah.
And it looks so cool.
Yeah.
So
no, it's a banger, to be fair, isn't it? But there's a few of those sort of songs that you just kind of know are gonna work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So have you ever had a wedding moment that's like really shocked you or really surprised you?
It might surprise me. Oh man. A few. The worst one I ever did was when the wedding proper kicked off. As in like massive fight, riot police, ambulances.
Wow.
That was mental. So that's
my first wedding.
shocking.
My first wedding of this year, there was a fight.
Yeah.
And
I don't get it. Some people shouldn't be allowed to drink.
No.
It's like a drinking license where you've got to pass a test where you just get completely paralysed and like then you don't act.
Yeah.
Like it, and then you get a certificate to say you're allowed to drink in public.
Yeah.
Like, that should be how it should be.
I'd like to film that test.
Yeah, that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
But you've got to be put in a room with like 16, 18-year-olds as well, just see what happens. 16 other lads that are all like stellar
flies.
Yeah. Just see what goes down. But
you shouldn't be allowed to drink in public without some sort of license.
Thing is, there's time and a place for it, isn't there? And luckily, the bride and groom on this wedding were really, really cool. The situation was being handled, and then me and the photographer Steve, we were there, and we were like, this is gonna drag now because it was around first dance. We hadn't done first dance yet.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's gonna be an hour now before first dance. We're knackered already. It was the first wedding of the year. I was like, I just want to do the filming. Let's get home and let's get to work.
Yeah.
And then literally 10 minutes later, the bride and groom come in going, "We're ready. Ready for first dance yet?" As if like we were holding them back.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool that they sort of bounced back. But it does happen every so often. There's always one that sort of like kills it a bit.
Yeah.
It's family tension, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think some people do find it hard not to be the main character.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if you're a wedding guest, like, you're not the important person.
No.
And I think some people don't get that.
No.
And find some way of making it about them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1 in a million, obviously. We've both played, I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of weddings. There's a few
it's very rare that it does sort of like
happen.
Kick off a bit, but yeah, it does happen. And sometimes it's the people you least expect as well.
Yeah, so, maybe. Yeah.
You never can tell, but
I think definitely be careful who you invite.
Yeah.
I did one years ago where I actually alerted the security to the fact it was about to kick off, because I'm on the dance floor and some guy sort of like pushes past me, and all I can hear as he walks past me in my ear is him going, "I'm gonna have him," and I'm like, "Ding ding ding."
Yeah.
So I went straight to the bar and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but something's about to go on. You might want to get security down here. Anyway, the him he was going to have was the groom. It's like, if you're writing your wedding guest list, how far have you got to go for a phone book to get beyond the guys you like, beyond the guys you think are all right, to the guys that want to beat you up?
Yeah.
Like, how few friends have you got to have to start getting to the guys that want to beat you up when you're looking at your wedding guest list?
What did you do? I want to know.
I didn't ask.
I'm too nosy to film anything, to be honest.
See, I'm the opposite. I just stay out of the way. I'm like, I ain't having it. I'm not here for that. I'm just...
Me and Steve at the last
head
one
down,
just eating...
play the saxophone.
They had a sweetie bar, so we were just eating sweets.
Nice.
And then I think it was the bride, I can't remember, bride or groom that asked us if we got any footage of it. I'm like, no, because you know, it's like anyone's fighting, you see a camera. Like, that's a very expensive bit of kit to piss someone off with.
Yeah, absolutely. But, yeah. Although, to be fair, if you're going to be witnessing a fight, standing next to Steve Barber's not a bad idea, is it? The guy's built like a shed. Yeah. Like, he's my security guard.
He's like 4'2" and 68 as well, so we've got to give him a bit of a break.
Oh yeah, the man's there. Yeah. I wouldn't mess with him. Put it that way.
No,
nicest guy in the world. Nicest guy in the world, but I wouldn't mess with him.
I'm going to bleep that and say that you called him a slag or something.
He's such a legend.
He's really cool. He's really cool. What's the most challenging part about performing weddings?
Oh, the challenging part. That's a really good question, to be fair. I think there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
it's definitely. I mean, it must be the same thing. Like, especially like ceremonies. Like, if
ceremonies are my most stressful part.
Yeah. If
as soon as that ceremony's done, I'm calm.
Yeah. If something goes wrong with how you're shooting that, you can't go. Can we do it again, please? Yeah. Like that is your moment. That's when you bring your A game. And I think that moment when. I think it's not even like the playing side of it. It's kind of like everything else around. Like, for example, I think any musician, DJ would say the same thing. If you're working with backing music, for example, if you're a DJ, there's always that moment the celebrant goes, plays a bit of sounding for the entrance of the bridal party. Yeah. And you look at the iPad and you go, don't go wrong now. Yeah. But it's never ever happened.
I'll get you there as well.
But you know what I mean? Like, you look at that moment of like, when I press this play button on this R song, this needs to work, and of course it always does. But there's always that feeling, and as soon as that kicks off, and I know I can play it, it's not a problem there. But it's that's the more stressful part.
It's just your
responsibility.
The intrusive thoughts talking, right?
Yeah, of course it is.
Because I'm always like I work 3 static cameras for ceremony and speeches, and then my 4th camera for B-roll. Yeah. And the only reason that I film on 3 cameras is just in case I forget to press on that one. Yeah. But then every so often in my head I go, did I press record on any of them? Yeah. But then luckily I can move around a bit and see. But again, thankfully.
It's backups for backups, isn't it? I mean, I did one gig years ago where I got to at that point I was playing music through the laptop and got to the gig, fired me up, black screen of death, hard drive not recognised. Okay, not good. But all right, at least I got all the backing music on my iPad. Yeah. So I plugged that in, one of the speakers blew.
Oh no.
And I was like, you're having a laugh. So I end up basically, that's the reason why I always take at least 2 speakers, even for a really small gig where I only need one, because one's the backup for the other. If both are working, you might as well use both and have them there pointing different directions happy days. But if it comes down to it, like one's enough. And that gig, I was thinking to myself, like, I'm on my last sound source, my last speaker, anything else goes wrong, start the car.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like, I mean, that's backups, but ever since then, I've got backups for backups for backups for backups for backups, you know.
Yeah, I'm the same with audio.
Yeah,
like the very last sort of backup is the audio that comes out of the cameras.
Yeah.
And that is toilet.
Yeah, but it's good enough if there's no other alternatives. But
when it comes to weddings, I've got my routine for how I'm prepped. So the night before, I'll make sure all the batteries are charged. I've got my charging case, so everything's charged all the time anyway.
Yeah.
All the cards are cleared.
Yeah.
All the cards are in the camera.
Yeah.
The card case is in the camera box.
Have you got like a checklist? You sort of tick them off as you do it?
In my head.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm like OCD about it, because I start with something, end with the other.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to other events, I'm not as sort of like zoned in. So weirdly enough, I filmed a funeral a couple of months ago, and it was a really, really lovely family. And because I've not really done too many, I like to get there really early, just because I don't know how all funerals run different. And I got there really early. It was about half an hour drive.
Yeah.
Got there early, turned my camera on to get some establishings. No cards. I'm like, fuck, where's my card box? It's not in my bag. It's at the house on my desk. So I had to drive home, get the cards, drive back. Again, luckily, I'm really like OCD about my timings. And even weddings, I'm really early just so I've got time to set up. But
well, that's your other backup, isn't it? Is having enough time to solve problems if they arise.
The thing is, the cards are too expensive to have spares in my car. Although that should be my next.
Yeah, maybe
next thing, but
yeah, it's but yeah, if I wasn't, I'm pretty neurotic about prep and stuff. Same sort of thing. Like all my speakers are all, well, the ones I use for like daytime stuff are all battery powered. So again, the night before you charge them. I've got 2 iPads just in case one iPad doesn't work. I've then got backing tracks on my phone if I then need it as like a third backup.
Yeah.
You know, so again, they're all charged. Everything's all synced up. Everything's all ready to go. You pack everything in the same way every time.
Yeah.
Everything's got its own pocket in the bag. That way, if I pick up the bag and I feel like, oh man, that pocket's too light, like, you know straight away the something missing.
It's like your phone pocket.
Yeah, this is it.
If
I
put my phone,
or whatever.
I spent the other day 10 minutes looking for my phone. It was in my right pocket, not my left. I felt like a real tit.
It's true, isn't it? Like if you feel wrong if it's not in, definitely. Yeah. So it's backups for backups for backups, and
absolutely.
then like you say, like routine, just making sure
things have got to go wrong at some point for you to learn what not to do, right?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like you learn from lucky escapes, or you learn from near misses.
Yeah.
I mean, again, touch wood. I've never had any major like disasters. Nothing's ever like I've never had a party finisher. Nothing's ever stopped me from being able to do my job. You know.
We'll circle back in a year and
yeah, absolutely.
Just to confirm that.
See in 12 months. Yeah. But then there's always been like a few times when you've kind of gone, but what if that had happened as well, or what if this had. And so then you kind of go, well, if that ever does happen, I need to make sure that I'm ready for it. So you end up like I am
it's like
now.
Contingency plans for
this
everything, right?
But I turn up to a gig now where realistically, if I'm playing like with a DJ, for example, I need a sax and all the related bits and pieces like reeds and stuff. And I need basically my mic, a couple of cables, happy days.
Yeah.
And I'm turning up with a bag like this, which is full of spares, weighs more than I do. And and half the time I'm giving spares out to other people.
Yeah.
Someone's going to me, "You've got a gaffer tape?" Yep. Well, I haven't used it in about 3 years, but there you go, it's in the bag anyway, off you go. Or something goes wrong with the DJ setup or something, if you've got a spare cable, yep, there you go, I've got 5 of them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it all just means everyone
the day runs smoothly for the couple, right?
Yeah, this is it. I did a gig a little while ago. The DJ's mic went wrong. Didn't have a spare mic. It's cool. I got a spare mic. I'm not even using a vocal mic tonight, but I've still got a spare one.
Yeah,
it's in my bag. There you go. Borrow it up. I'm off at 10:30 when I finish. Leave it at the venue and come back to it next week. I'll pick it up.
Yeah,
and
it's good having people in the industry that you trust to leave your stuff with as well. I mean,
yeah. To be fair, I
had to borrow a lens off of Steve-O last year for a few gigs because. Someone knocked my camera over at a wedding and snatched the lens away. So
that's always the fear, isn't it? It's always the fear. It's expensive kit. Like it's all insured and stuff, but
it's not the insurance. It's that I had 2 more weddings in a row. 3 more weddings in a row.
Yeah,
and it was my main camera. It was the big big wide one there. So
Yeah.
it's a necessary one,
Yeah.
especially for like tight venues, which we had a couple of. So it's good that like we can lean on certain people in the industry, and obviously they can lean on us as well, which is good.
I mean, do you have like sentimentality with cameras and stuff like that at all? Not really. It's just a bit of kit that does the job.
Kit, mate. I don't even have my first camera anymore.
Yeah.
I think the only cameras that I own that I care about are I've got my granddad's and my great granddad's film cameras.
Oh, nice.
So they're the only ones that I care about.
I'm guessing they don't go to gigs.
No, they can't film.
Doesn't help, does it?
But it's all material to me. I mean, what I like as well is that if there's, so I've had it a few times where like the bride and groom have got their kid there, and they're a bit shy, but they love the camera.
Yeah.
All the kids love the camera and the gimbal, so I will happily let the kid press record, press the buttons on the screen because I know how to get it all back.
Yeah. Nice.
The amount of times I've been asked by grooms if they can hold the gimbal with the camera on. And I go, yeah, providing if you drop it, day's ruined.
Yeah, this is it, yeah.
But, and as well, like, if I've got to get a bit nitty gritty with certain shots, like if I've got to get on the ground and the camera's got to go on the ground, might get scratched up a bit, as long as I can get the shot.
Yeah.
Like the drones are a big one.
Oh, I bet. Don't crash that.
Well, my Mini 4, I've crashed twice. One of them was a stupid accident that I weren't focusing on the pad because I got too excited over a new setting that I found. I forgot that it was still in sports mode.
That's so geeky, I love it.
And one, we was at the Gardens, and so it don't crash if you're in cinematic or normal mode.
Yeah.
But it lost GPS at the back of the Gardens. And it was a really cool sunset. So I managed to get it out. And as I'm bringing it back, I lost GPS.
Yeah.
I never lost GPS at the Gardens.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, just black screen.
So I just don't know where it was.
Didn't no idea. I don't know. It's like the pad lost connection to the drone.
So it's just flying around.
It's
like
just
AWOL.
So they stay stable. But clearly, as I'm bringing it back, it's not the sensors aren't working. All of a sudden, it's in a tree.
Oh,
so I'm like, I'm panicking. Not about the drone. I want the shot.
Yeah.
Because the all the footage from that wedding is on the card.
Yeah, of course it is.
So it's not just the shot of the sunset. It's the shot of the whole day of the drone.
Wow.
But luckily, about half an hour later, I found out that on the pad, it's got a Find My Drone app.
Oh, okay.
And it will literally pinpoint you to the exact location of the drone. And then
clever.
it will flash and it will beep. It was in a tree.
How'd
And
you get it
then, by the time we got it down...
Just go and climb the tree?
No, we were throwing rocks at it and stuff. So I was with Dan Luke.
Oh, yeah.
So we were like launching rocks and sticks at it and stuff. And it landed and like the wings broke, the camera's hanging off. Don't know whether that was for the crash or a good rock throw.
To be fair, none of it helps.
No. But I don't know if it was me. I think it was Dan. He went to throw a rock first, but my car was parked right underneath the tree. I'm like, let me move my car a bit first. But I got the shot. I got it back, and it's in their video. And
nice.
then again, I had a backup, so it's fine. And then the insurance sort of covered for it anyway. So
yeah,
I don't think. I think if you're too precious about your kit, you're not going to be good at your job.
Yeah, I think that to me was the only thing, because that's why I asked the question, because for musicians, obviously, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Like my main sax, which I use particularly for sort of daytimes at weddings, I've had that for I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
That's done literally thousands of gigs. Like if anything happened to me, I'd be devastated. Like it is a production line sax. It's not some vintage thing that's irreplaceable. Like I could claim insurance tomorrow and get a new one delivered next day and away I go, you know?
Yeah.
But it still wouldn't be like my one, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can see
there's a lot more sentiment
in every
instruments.
ding, I can tell you where it came from. I can tell you a story behind it. You can see my thumbprint where I hold it. And this is like brass, and I've gradually worn away where I hold it over the last God knows how many years. And so nowadays, when I do evening gigs on like a dance floor, I don't use it.
Yeah,
I've got something else I use. It's a nice instrument.
Yeah,
it's quite a bit cheaper than the main one, but it's still it's a top quality instrument. But it's got no sentimental value.
No.
Like if it got damaged tomorrow, I would just go and get another one. Like I wouldn't cry about it. Because if anything happened with my main one, I'd be devastated.
See, I think the middle camera is the expensive B cam camera. So I think even after like maybe the next 3 years, I'll probably upgrade it.
Yeah.
But the issue with this kit is some of it still holds quite a lot of value at the end of it. Especially because I don't take photographs on them, so the sensor's fine.
Oh, okay. So you should use different mechanisms, does it, if you're photographing or filming?
Yeah. So come the end of it, I'll just trade in for a new one.
Yeah.
There's no... it's expensive, but you got to pay to get the quality.
Of course you have.
But
if it's your livelihood,
there is zero sentiment in it.
Yeah. Don't you listen? 0 sentiment. Poor thing.
It is a great tool. But if tomorrow they came out with a brand new one that I could straight swap for, I'd straight swap for it.
Yeah.
If it was better.
I suppose that's technology, isn't it? Technology improves, whereas I suppose instruments improve as well, depending who you ask. Obviously, the vintage instruments are the most valuable.
Yeah.
You know, which kind of completely goes against that theory. That instruments improve, but yeah, it's not quite the same as a new camera coming out with a better sensor and more megapixels, or however your cameras work. I don't know.
I think there would be different sentiment if like that was given to me by my granddad. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're all just they're great tools, and that's what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah. No sentiment.
Brutal.
Sorry. You do a great job.
Nice. We love
Just trying to make the camera feel good about itself now.
Yeah.
If you could duet with any celebrity, any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh man, that's a mega question. I think a player that I would love to play with, like in his prime. I think I mentioned earlier, I don't know if it's before the camera's rolling or not, but John Mayer.
Yeah.
Just I grew up listening to John Mayer.
I think John Mayer watches the podcast.
And of course he does. Yeah, you're right, John.
You're right, John.
He's a massive influence on me growing up. Like, I just loved his music.
Yeah.
I learned guitar from watching John Mayer. Like, and again, it's like what we were saying earlier about music making you feel like something.
Yeah. And his style and sax would sort of work.
In fact, funny enough, his go-to sax player, I don't know if he actually is still now, but certainly for a long time, was a guy called Bob Reynolds, who's one of my biggest influences as a sax player. Yeah. I've seen him live quite a few times, and he's given me a little bit of help on a few things, and
that's cool.
Sort of over like the internet, like he lives in LA. But yeah, we've done quite a bit with him, and the John Mayer's style and sax just. It works.
Yeah, it works. I can't imagine that wouldn't work perfectly.
Yeah, it really does. But again, it's that feeling that he plays with. Like every note actually means something. There's no notes that he's playing just because he can. Yeah. Like everything actually like means something and feels something, and that's priceless.
There was a video of him playing guitar unplugged because they thought that it was like. He couldn't play the blues that well or something like that, so he like proved it on like how he plays. I'm like, yeah, man. So really,
different class.
I think he's extremely underrated.
I think he was at one point. I don't know if he's still now, but he was huge in the US. Yeah, like he was like top in the US, and he just never really kicked off over here in a big way. Yeah, which is a real shame. And then he went more kind of the kind of cowboy country kind of road before the country thing was popular, and sort of the music sort of lost its way a little bit for my personal tastes, but the kind of vintage kind of continuum kind of era John Mayer was quality.
Like top tier, wasn't he?
No, I remember seeing him at the Royal Albert Hall, and
great venue.
It's all right, innit? And he played, I think it was Gravity he played. Yeah. And like the solo he played on that was just mesmerising. Like you felt like it was reaching inside you. Yeah. It like you couldn't think about anything else. Like it's so hard to describe. But it's when music transcends notes and just becomes. They say it's like a language, don't they? Yeah. But it becomes even more than that. It just makes you feel, and you can't put a price on that.
No, absolutely not.
Different level.
So I've never seen him. I would like to see him if he comes back over here again. I would like.
See, I did very very brief story. Like years ago, there was he did a tour over here. He did like 4 or 5 dates, and did one in Birmingham. He did one in London, like the O2 or something like that. No, it's at the Apollo. And then he did one for a festival, and he did one in Manchester. But I think it was Birmingham, Manchester, then the London sets. And I went to Birmingham with a mate, and we stayed in a hotel. And we went to the bar after the gig, and as it happened, the support act was in the same hotel, and him and his band were drinking at the bar. So we got chatting the support act as you do, and just having a drink. And the one gig we hadn't got a ticket for of the four was Manchester. And so obviously we got to the end of the night, and then we were going to bed, and the support act guy was like, "Oh, you coming tomorrow night?" And we're like, "Oh, it's the one gig we couldn't get tickets for." And he goes, "Well, come on down." It's like, "All right, okay." He's like, "Yeah, come to stage door, I'll let you in." Like, all right, fair enough. So we drove from Birmingham to Manchester on the off chance the guy would remember. Yeah. On the off chance he'd be treated as whatever, and he weren't bullshitting or whatever. And as we got there, we got to the stage door, and there's obviously a security guard there, and he's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Well, so and so said we could come in." He's like, "All right, yeah, hold on." We're like, "Okay, we're obviously some sort of list. Like, he knows about us." Anyway, the guys come to let us in. So not only did we get into the gig free, the one gig you couldn't get the tickets for, but we watched the whole sound check, everything, just cool. Literally in the whole, like, imagine the whole auditorium just by ourselves, just standing there in the middle of this like empty space.
The one next, the venue next to the Old Trafford.
Oh, I can't remember that much. I better remember where I live, to be honest. I'm not a geographer, but it was in Manchester. It was a long time ago now, but yeah, it was epic. It was epic. Just being there, watching John Mayer sound. It's awesome having band.
Like stories like that as well. Like,
it's really cool. Yeah,
I went to Download Festival a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
For the Metallica played there twice.
Okay, cool.
And unfortunately, well, I went there for the Thursday for the first Metallica show.
Yeah,
was there for Friday for Bring Me the Horizons headline set. And then I had to come home because I had a wedding the next day.
Which was work, isn't it?
Yeah, which was the next Metallica slot. And I was going to go back the next day, but I was just too tired.
Yeah.
But the first day, I've never seen Metallica. All the other supporting acts, they're awesome. But I was there on my own. So I was like, I'm going to have a walk around because there's a few other bands playing on other stages that I want to see.
Yeah.
But it was Eddie Van Halen's son. Yeah. His band was first on the main stage. So I thought, I'll have a watch. I went over there with my breakfast baguette.
Nice.
And there was a fella at the side of the stage letting people in because they had the snake pit there for Metallica.
Yeah.
They'd had it there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I wonder what that is. So I queued up and this fella let me in.
Yeah.
Didn't check bands or anything. And all of a sudden I found myself in this snake pit.
Yeah.
Which is, you can only fit maybe 50 to 100 people in there.
Snake pit, what's that?
So the stage, the main stage, and then there's like a walkway that goes out into the crowd.
Okay.
So the snake pit is like the crowd inside.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't know what I've done to be allowed in here.
But I'm not making a fuss about it, yeah.
No. So I sat and Eddie Van Halen's son's right there playing.
Yeah.
And then another band came on, and then a band called Ginger came on. They were awesome. And then Hailstorm came on.
Yeah.
And I love Hailstorm. And again, you're right there. And then Miles Kennedy and Alter Bridge came on. They're right there. And like they you could literally like throw something up and they catch her.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really, really cool experience. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'm gonna be in this snake pit for Metallica.
Yeah.
And then Alter Bridge finished, and then the security came in and was like moving boxes around, I assumed to like pass up to them if they needed another guitar or something.
Yeah.
And they were checking wristbands. I'm like, I'm going to get caught out here somehow. And he checked mine. He goes, how did you get in here? I went, I don't know. Someone let me in this morning. He goes, you've been here all day? I went, yeah. And he goes, you're not meant to be in here. I went, come on. I was like, look, I've been in here all day. I haven't done anything. I've been no trouble. I went, I promise I keep myself to myself. And he was really like empathetic, but he was like, no, you've got to go. So I'm like, fuck.
Nice.
But at this point, all the other stages had finished.
Yeah.
So there was no chance in hell. There was like 80,000 people there.
Yeah.
No chance in hell of me getting up close. Yeah. So I'm literally off to the side of the stage, like quite far back. And I'm watching this set, and then you can see on the screen all the people in the snake pit. You've got Izzy Hale in there from Hailstorm. You've got Miles Kennedy in there from Alter Bridge. You've got Wolfgang Van Halen in there.
Wow.
You've got all the artists from the whole day in there, and I'm just like,
oh man,
I should have just like dodged around or something and tried to got in there. But either way, it's still a fun story to have from that day. But
the worst one there, you must need a wee at some point.
Absolutely. But the thing is, the next day,
so if you go out, you might never get back in again.
Exactly. But the next day was Bring Me the Horizon main stage, and they're one of my favourite bands, and I got in, had my breakfast, got to the toilet, got mid drinks and stuff, and it had a great lineup for the day. So I'm not fucking leaving this stage.
Yeah.
And I was right up at the barrier for the whole day, and as people are getting out, I'm sort of shuffling down, so I'm at the best spot I could be.
Yeah.
End of the night, I am busting for a pee, but I was not moving from that spot at all. But I had to leave like 2 songs before the end, so instead of going through it, they let me jump over and then walk me around. And then literally, I almost went myself out to run to the toilet.
I bet you did. I must have felt good though.
Oh, best week I've had in my life.
This is gone down a
massive decline. I like it.
On it, Jazz. Next week, leave me wee. It's good. I like it.
What's one piece of advice you could give to couples planning their wedding at the minute?
Oh man, that's the thing I say to every couple, every single wedding. Be selfish. It's your day. Be selfish. So many brides and grooms like waste so much like energy in the wedding day worrying about who's having fun, who's not having fun. Like you've invited to a wedding, you've paid for the dinner, you've put on great entertainment. You like if they ain't having fun after that, like that's kind of on them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think so many couples kind of get sort of so absorbed in whether everyone else is having a good time, they forget to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I always say to every couple, like at some point, like in the night, like not whilst I'm playing, obviously, but at some point in the night, just walk away. Just spend 10 minutes just by yourselves. If you've got an outdoor space, like go find yourself a little quiet corner somewhere or go into the bar or anywhere. Someone wants to talk to you, just I'll be back in a few minutes. Like, you know, just take some time to be together. Because the day goes so fast. Yeah. Like you will blink and it will be over. So like don't waste it worrying about everyone else having a good time.
Take those little moments all day.
I think it's as much as you can for definite. But I think particularly like towards the end of the day, just take time to reflect together before the end of the night and kind of go like we're married. Yeah. Like this is what it's all been about. And I think that's just so important. Rather than sort of worrying about whether everyone else having a good time. Like, you know, it's like you bought them dinner.
It's like worrying about saying hello to everyone as well.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like you've seen them before, you're going to see them again. Like, yeah, as much as possible, you want to welcome your guests. Of course you do. But I think so many couples get so anxious about that. Yeah. And they kind of, like I say, they kind of forget to enjoy themselves a little bit. Yeah. I think I come across one recently. I just a couple I've just booked recently. I've not come across this idea before, but they said they're actually going to get their guests to leave before the end of the night. Okay. I don't know if you come across this idea before, but like the venues like music like a last dance or this is it. It's the music curfew for the venues like midnight or whatever. And they're basically saying we're not going to quarter to 12. And they're basically going to get their DJ to play like one more song for them to have a dance just by themselves, like clear the room, everyone else can go to the bar or go home or whatever, but this is like out. And I kind of like that. Yeah, I love that. It's a really, really nice idea, just to have that special time. Because they don't do
it's very rare, I think, you do the carriages where like you see the bride and groom off to go on their honeymoon. I think that is, I think it's a very American thing. Or very,
it's quite traditional. Thing. Yeah, it's quite traditional. I think it's one of those traditions that's kind of passed.
I love that last dance thing. I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, I've not come across that before. It's a really nice idea.
Even if it's the same song you have for your first dance, it's just nice to have. Yeah, like because I think the video that I saw, even the DJ left. He just left his camera running so that they could have that. Yeah, like photographer, videographer left, DJ left. It was just them in the room. Yeah, which was lovely.
I think it's really nice. But I'll never forget the time I got, because I did a band gig once and they had the carriages thing and they requested the band play Let's Get It On as they were leaving. Never forget that. That cracked me up so much. Like, of course, we're performing it live. Like, we couldn't do it with a straight face. They're walking out in a big arch of all their guests doing this. It's like, let's get it on. But, it cracked me up. Absolutely brilliant. Quality. So, that's the adult version of the podcast, yeah.
I like that, yeah. So where can people find you to get you booked for their wedding day?
So all over social media, Dave Brazier Sax, little plug there. Otherwise, my website is kentweddingsaxophonist.co.uk. Otherwise, to be honest, anywhere in Kent, really. Yeah. I think I'm pretty friendly terms with basically every wedding venue around, to be honest. There's quite a few wedding venues that specifically recommend me, which I'm very, very grateful for. But yeah, the best way is online, either Dave Brazier Sax or kentweddingsaxophonist.co.uk.
Awesome. Well, we'll tag you in everything anyway that we put out.
Yeah, thank you, man.
But before we go, who do you want to see on the show in the future?
Oh man, I didn't think about that. So who do I want to see? Because you've had some. Excuse me. You've had some venues. You've had photographers.
We've only had one venue.
Oh yeah, you had.
We had the Ferry House,
didn't you? Yeah, I saw that.
I'd like a few more. We've got Longton Woods coming on next week. I'd like a few more, but I think because we're going into that really busy season now.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
It's hard to get them to send me a couple of people that are off.
I was thinking something like a bit different. I can't think of the name now. I'm really, really bad with names and stuff like that, especially on the spot. But there's I think like the dog handlers.
Here Come the Hound.
Here Come the Hound. That's the one.
We had them on. They were one of our first shows.
I haven't seen that one.
That was pre-Christmas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
that was a really cool episode actually.
Yeah, I bet they seem really, really fun.
I think the girls are awesome.
Did they bring the dog on?
No.
Oh, the dog's probably.
I did want them to, but obviously I got my dog.
I suppose, it might not go well, especially your dog's a security dog. It might not go down well.
Maybe in the next time when we've got separate locations.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, probably from a venue point of view, and the venue that's been like my go-to for years. I'm basically part of the family at the Old Kent Barn.
Yeah.
And they're such lovely people.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon they'd be really good for this.
Yeah. So we actually had a conversation not too long ago about the girls coming on.
Yeah.
But again, it's
peak wedding
scheduling
season,
and stuff like that. But they will come on at some point, whether I've got to go there or they got to come here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get them on. But
I mean, the other one, we mentioned obviously Bruno Boombox a little while ago, but there's an amazing DJ I work with loads, a guy called Jordan Hill.
I know Jordan,
JD Mobile Disco.
Yeah.
He's a cracking DJ.
Yeah.
He's absolutely another level.
Yeah.
He's gonna laugh at me when he sees me saying that on camera. He'll never let me forget it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a cracking DJ, and he's a good laugh as well.
Well, we'll shoot him a message and
shoot him a message.
See if we can get a day together. Now that we're going into busy season, it's difficult getting anyone on, man.
Yeah, this is it, absolutely.
Yeah.
But mate, it's been an absolute privilege being on.
Mate, it's been awesome having you on.
I was dead chuffed when you messaged me. Said I was like, what, me?
We've had a couple of people request for you as well. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But we were going to have you on anyway, so.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But, mate, great having you on. I'm sure we've got a lot coming up together this year anyway.
Such a pleasure. And,
We'll get this out to everyone as soon as we can.
Thank you for having me.